This is Francis Glenn. He got his picture in the obituary too. Like I said, this was a guy who, he doesn't look like somebody you buy used Hudson from, but he was a promoter of the best sort. He was promoting in the obituary. He was promoting his bookstore. Glenn's book still exists in Kansas City, but Francis, artist, excuse me, has, his wife has sold it off. Okay, this is just another room. We don't know where it is, for sure. That's the staircase leading up to the second floor. Each one of the risers was stacked with books, so that you had to go along one side to get up. And then this is, looks like magazines and this stuff is stacked someplace. There's nothing of value that doesn't look like anything. This is the house and the cottage. It's got, the lawn needs mowing here. Maybe a little cleaning up for some of them. This would have been before the house was torn down. As I said, the cottage is still there, and there it is today. And it sits on a concrete slab, so it will be there for a while. And in this picture, it was for sale, so there's a chance to own it. Now this is the Main Street of Bethlehem. And Dale Ballard's filling station is right over here. This is Cotner Boulevard, Saunders Avenue then. This building on the corner is being dismantled. It's not being raised because Larry Price bought it. And Larry Price saves everything and uses it over again. So he's hired these guys up here to take it apart and disassemble it. They put the lumber in here. This is Harold Smash, which is made out of an Army surplus bathtub. They were putting it in here, and along comes Thomas Jefferson Fitzpatrick, and he says, "Oh, where are you going with all that lumber?" And the guy says, "Well, some of it's going to go to the project that Mr. Price says Rester's going to dump." And Fitzpatrick says, "Oh, don't go over to dump with them, take it to my backyard." So we did. And Larry Price told me, he said, "Yeah," and then the neighbors got on me, and I had to hire the guys then to go back over to the house and pick up the stuff and then take it to the dump. Not very popular. Now this is the title page of one of the books that I have. It's volume 1, number 1 of the Boyce Bio, which looks like it's worth a lot, but I think I gave nothing for it. It's one of those books that Longs bought for a penny and a quarter. The interesting thing about it is it shows, like all of the books that I own, it says HMS Sender, Kansas City. That's who we bought it from. 6/28/1945. You paid $7. Up here it says complete TJF. That's his column line. That says Centerville, and then it has some sort of number. God knows what that means. Then it says Volume 1, October 1858 was issued. Something in a series, a list. This is an interior page of the same book. And this is an example of what he did. Down at the bottom, this article was signed instead of by the person, JMS. So he has written equals stone. See page 94. Also see volume 2, page 99. That's every book I have, which is admittedly junk, you see the same thing. Now this is a letter that's in the archives of the University of Nebraska. It is from Oldfather, Dean of Arts and Science, to Fitzpatrick with a copy to Frank Lundy, who's the librarian at that time. And it says, in essence, it says, addressing to Fitzpatrick, who has, because he's retired as a professor, gets to have a retired emeritus desk. But the letter is telling him that they need that space. He should come get his papers. Then flipped over is a note then from Lundy back to Oldfather. And the note says, I've got to go back and copy it. It says, Fitzpatrick came last night and got his papers. Also the desk and all our shelves. Apparently, they let him have it. I think this is probably the last picture. This is a picture also from a frontispiece of one of the books when he's on a field trip with his students out in, usually Wyoming, where they went to study prairie grasses. This is a picture taken from one of the University of Nebraska yearbooks where they have one of the faculty clubs, or associations, and there's Fitzpatrick sitting in there. got his picture. That begins the Oregon Trail. Okay, so are there any questions? I keep thinking little things as I go, but pretty well illustrates the essence of the story. Or am I answering the other?
Well, his penchant for writing all the marginalia in the book is certainly fascinating, but did it diminish the value of the book?
For a collector, it certainly would have. Although if you write it in lead pencil, it probably would have been minor. Lead pencil is not very offensive. We don't pay too much attention to it. It's certainly a scarce book. It would. Scarce for the book, not really diminish it. But if you had a Principia Mathematica or books Micrography, it wouldn't materially affect it. In fact, you take like a first folio, the one the University of Nebraska has. Somebody set a glass of wine down on one of the pages. It's like a great big circle. And like Robert Mull says, that just makes it a living book. It shows you it was used, doesn't affect its value a nickel. It's still worth $1 million. So yes and no. Okay.
So there are no descendants?
Well, undoubtedly Fred had children. Lillian died before she married, and I've been unable to trace down. Fred would be gone now to his son. And Fred, he and his father were estranged at the last. They didn't, but he did become the executor of the estate. But he and his father were not speaking. And you can see why. And I think probably Lillian and Fred were both afraid for their mother's safety. Justifiably. He had slipped over that edge now between bibliophile. And a bibliophile is a person who is interested in books, paper, printing, everything to do with books. But a bibliomane, literally, that's all there is. There is nothing else. And that's sort of where he got to. The kind of guy. Another question?
How did he function as a professional?
Well, he obviously did a pretty good job as a librarian. He was extremely well liked by the students. And he seemed to do okay. He taught very few classes other than his seminary every summer. He was primarily acted as the director of the herbarium and as the librarian. And apparently, when he taught classes, he was loved. But towards the end, I take it, he did not teach very much. So, how did he function? Adequately. But maybe barely. Being loved by the students is okay, but that's not necessarily going to get you anywhere. And of course, never having completed his doctorate, he never would have advanced to a full professor. It has been done. Faulkner. What's her name? Virginia Faulkner was a full professor, but we have a doctorate. So it can happen, but not very often. It's not destined. Anything else? Okay, Pat, thank you very much.